Vic Mornington. How's everybody doing? So it's rare for me to manage to get into a place to do a Morningtons at video, and that place has basically just recently opened, and this place has basically just recently opened. We're at Ridgeline, and Ridgeline is a town that is based in somewhere in the north of the state of Georgia. At least I think it's the north. This is what Leah and Fenn's been telling me, because they've been living here since the place basically opened up. And Ridgeline is one of those towns that are going to be taking roleplay very seriously. A lot of other roleplay communities in Second Life, and I'm not just talking about the modern ones that have popped up like Portofino and a few others, I'm talking about the older ones as well, like Caledon and New Babbage, the old ones. A lot of them are more centred along light roleplay. They don't actually take roleplay as serious as some of the more serious roleplay regions out there generally tend to do. Take for instance Myville, how do you spell it again? That's another old community. Is it M-I-E or M-E-I? I think it's M-I-E-V-I-L-L-E, Myville. I think it's a late Renaissance. I haven't been there for years, but I think it's a late Renaissance or a very early Victorian set of regions, and they're actually much, much more strict with the roleplay compared to Caledon and New Babbage. Ridgeline, where we're in right now, is something similar. It's on the same lines as Myville. They're taking roleplay a little bit more seriously. So when you're out and about, if you don't have an OOC tag on, out of character, you're instantly roleplaying. The roleplay signs in front of people's houses, if there's no roleplay sign, it's automatically assumed that your house is open to be roleplayed in, that kind of thing. So let's have a look around, shall we? We're right in front of the city hall now. This region that I'm standing in right now opened yesterday, I think. It was either yesterday or the day before. The original region, which opened up about 2 weeks ago, is actually over here. So we're going to start with the old region, the original region that opened up. So there's a bit of backstory going on with this particular region. The city owner is Aidan Stark, who's a name that everyone is, well, not everyone, but a lot of people in the roleplay communities are going to be recognising the name Aidan Stark. However, Aidan's partnered with and I've completely forgot her name now, Braylon Stark. Sorry, Braylon. Although, truth be told, I'm actually recording this at 12:15 midnight, and I'm kind of half asleep right now, so I've got an excuse. But yeah, Braylon is partnered with Aidan, and a lot of people in the roleplay communities know the name of Aidan Stark, and a lot of people who were a member of another town who shall not be named. Yeah, we all know who that town is. I think Leah's now calling them the backstabbing clown city. But yet a lot of people recognise Braylon's name as the former head of the city courts. And it's not just Braylon that's here. Jenna Monroe, because I think she got married now. It used to be Jenna Toretto, but Jenna's one of the city moderators. There's a couple of other people. I think Aaron. Again, I'm not quite up to speed with what's going on with the staff in here. I'm just being fed information from the three girls in SL. But I think Aaron, the former head of the DPW in the city that shall not be mentioned, is now head of the DPW here in Ridgeline. And of course, I've mentioned the three girls in SL, Leah and the girls. They're here, and Leah's heading up the Department of Motor Vehicles and the Department of Licensing here in Ridgeline. So there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of very, very well-known names, not just in the circles of the city that shall not be mentioned, but also in the circles of the likes of Portofino and Cedar Creek and a few other larger roleplay communities out there. There's a lot of names. If you pop over here and look at the radar, you'll instantly recognise a good number of names that are actually in here. And I think one of the major draws that's happening with Ridgeline is their stance on roleplay. As I said at the very beginning of this video. They are taking a much more serious stance on the aspects of roleplay for Ridgeline that a lot of other communities, including ones that I've mentioned before, simply are not doing. It's no secret that a lot of roleplay communities out there mention that they are roleplay communities, and bugger all roleplay actually happens in the town. It's not just a problem in the likes of New Babbage, it's not just a problem in the likes of Portofino, it's not just a problem in the likes of Sturbridge Grove. I don't even know if Sturbridge Grove is still going, but it's a lot of other roleplay communities out there. They say roleplay happens, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't. But they're going to be changing the way that things are done, or they're in the process of changing the way things are done here at Ridgeline. And right now, if I'm right, we're in front of the country club. So there's a large country club here. This country club is going to be set up, it's in the process of being set up, for large events that cover basically the entire city or the entire town. So there's going to be a large open space in here for restaurants and stuff. A lot of these rooms are still closed or still being set up. There we go. And if we just head out through the window and we go back outside, there is the public swimming pool at the side there. And if we spin the camera around and keep going round, you've got the usual roleplay departments. I think that's the fire station. Yeah, I recognise that building. So you've got the fire station there. I think it's Iceman that's running the fire station. I might be completely wrong, but I think it's Iceman that's running the fire station. Straight across from the fire station, we do of course have the Department of Public Works. This is another building that I'm recognising. So this is the DPW, headed by Aaron McMichael. In fact, there's Aaron's picture right there. Yeah, there's Aaron right there, headed by Aaron McMichael. And if I'm right, this is the region that the Angels have opened up their little... There it is. They always get the same building. They had this building in the city that shall not be mentioned, Backstabber Clown City as Leah calls them. They also had this building over at Woodland Grove, and now they've got the same building here. They must like this building. So yeah, downstairs you've got Electric Avenue, which is my bar. It was my bar over at the other place, but now Leah asked me to come over here and dump all the Electric Avenue stuff out. So her and Fenny are going to be running this part, but upstairs they're doing something a bit different. They've now got, and I haven't seen this yet, let's see what they've done. Oh, actually that's not bad. I wonder where they got the furniture from. Shut up, phone. I don't recognise this furniture. It must be from a new company. But yeah, they've opened up a little cafe up here. In fact, there's the sign there. Leaf and Bean Premium Roast. So it's a little cafe. That's cakes. Oh, I recognise some of those. I raised those out for Leah. I wonder what she was going to be doing with them. But yeah, so the girls have opened up their own pub and their own cafe upstairs. If we head over to the old region, the first one that opened up a few weeks ago, we should be seeing somewhere at the front here, I think that's it there actually, there it is, the medical centre. So they've got the hospital here, there's the hospital, and if what Leah was saying is right, the police station should be here somewhere. Again, this is kind of my first time, there it is, this is kind of my first time looking around this place. I had a very cursory come around yesterday when I was visiting the three girls in their new home, and they gave me a general overview of all the city departments. There's the sheriff's office here. It's not called the police department because it's Georgia. It's basically the sheriff's office. So they do have all the four major roleplay departments already set up, and from what I know, they are still looking for staff. I think most, but not quite all of the departments already have a department head. I know that the fire department and the sheriff's office, they've already got a department head. DMV, obviously, Leah's heading up the DMV. DPW, obviously, with Aaron. I think They might be still looking for an events lead, but I'm not quite sure because I've just basically joined their Discord very, very recently. I'm not living here, by the way. I don't have a house here, at least yet. I don't have a house here. I'm actually basically shacking up with the 3 girls in SL because they've got a spare room upstairs in their big house over at the old region. But there we go, folks. Ridgeline, based in Georgia, and because it's based in the north of Georgia, it does mean there is going to be shifting seasons. So from what Braylon has said, this place is going to have all 4 seasons, so spring, summer, autumn, and of course a slightly snowy winter, because from what I remember of Georgia, because it's pretty damn close to Florida, they don't get full out snowouts like you do further up north along that coast, but they do get a little bit of snow. And there we go. So if you are interested in a community that is actually going to take roleplay seriously, you now have an option with Ridgeline. And also from what Fen and Leah both said, the whole idea about Ridgeline as a small town community, they're not interested, at least from what Braylon has said to them, they're not interested in growing out the city to the size of Woodland Grove with its 20 regions now, or to the size of Portofino with its 15 regions, or even for that matter to the size of the city that shall not be named with its 8 regions. I think what the plan is for Ridgeline, and I'm not quite sure if it is the plan, but I think what the plan's going to be is they're probably going to cap out at round about 5 or maybe 6 regions, and that's it. That's going to be their limit. They don't want the city to basically grow out and end up being filled with a load of people that basically sit around in their house all day and they don't bother role-playing, and which is one of the major reasons why a lot of these roleplay cities tend to collapse. Or not so much collapse, but they do tend to fall apart when it becomes when it comes to the whole roleplay side of things, because they grow to such an extent that about 3/4 of the people that moves in to that city, because they've got a lot of rentals open, 3/4 of the people that move into that city basically don't roleplay. They just want a place to live, and they just happen to be living in a roleplay city. But from what the plans I've heard about Ridgeline, at least from what I've heard, they don't want that thing to quite happen as much here. They want people who are interested in roleplay actually moving in to their roleplay town. There is a number of new things coming for Ridgeline as well. Apparently they're going to be opening up a Ridgeline website that's currently under construction. They've got the roleplay plans, the major roleplay plans being planned out right now between the departments, and yeah, things are very, very fast moving here at Ridgeline. Now, the last time I checked, they had about 4, I think it was 3 or 4 homes still open for rent. There is no guarantee that those homes will still be open for rent. If you click on the link down below to the SL URL, there is no website to go to right now because the website's still to be launched, so you need to do it the old-fashioned way and pop in World to see what homes are actually available for rent. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. As always, thanks for watching and have a good one.